I'm joined now by Wang Qing. He's managing director at Morgan Stanley Asia and spent 6 years as an economist with the IMF in Washington. Thank you so much for coming in to speak to us. So what do you make of America's currency legislation on China? Does it have more bark than bite, as one strategist put it?
Oh, I think this bill will unlikely become a law that will have material damage on U.S.-China trade relationship. It is, however, an important message sent by U.S. to China that they do care. And I think Chinese side should also heed this message, show some flexibility on their currency policy.
And are they likely to do that?
I do think so. I think going forward, we should see Chinese renminbi to appreciate against U.S. dollar continuously, at least through November. But we shouldn't expect too much appreciation. Our forecast is that the dollar-China rate will reach 6.6 by year end.
Which is unlikely to satisfy the U.S. Congress, given some economists are saying the yuan is, undervalued by as much as 25%?
Well, I do believe the yuan is undervalued, but it's very difficult to determine how much it is. But as long as the renminbi keep appreciating against U.S. dollar, eventually the undervaluation will be corrected. It may not necessarily a good thing for the yuan to appreciate too fast against dollar, because after all, the currency has been kept undervalued for too long. It will be counterproductive for it to appreciate too fast.
But is it also in China's interest to allow its currency to appreciate further than the level that it's at now?
I do believe the renminbi appreciation is in China's own interest, and for many good benefits. For instance, rebalancing the economy, more independent monetary policy. But more concretely, I think a flexible renminbi exchange rate should also help reduce the risk of trade protectionism against China, launching by other trading partner countries.
And you raised a very interesting point that it is actually quite difficult to estimate how much the RMB is undervalued by. And I suppose critics would say that's precisely the problem with this legislation, because it requires somebody to kind of estimate how much the yuan is undervalued by, and that's just a very speculative approach to what is a very important issue.
Yeah, exactly. According to the bill, and the currency must be designated as fundamentally misaligned. This is a very technical term, and how to determine how much the currency is undervalued is technically very difficult. But some rule of thumb is useful in this regard. If China's current account surplus keep widening, that suggests that the undervaluation has not been addressed. If China keep accumulating large amount of foreign exchange reserves, meaning that the market was not allowed to play full role in determining the currency value. So I think going forward, we should watch China's current account surplus very closely, and also to watch whether China continue to accumulate very large amount of foreign exchange reserves.
Very briefly, you said yourself strong words from US President Barack Obama saying that China's currency policy is essentially making it tougher for US exporters to sell their goods. If this bill is enacted into law, what could it mean for relations between the two countries? What sort of retaliation could we see by China against US exporters?
Well, if this bill turn into law, it would be serious damage to U.S.-China relationship. However, I do not believe this will become a law. In fact, it's more of a message bill instead of a real threat, in my view.
But is the message itself, I mean, could that potentially do not damage, but perhaps sour relations somewhat?
Well, so far, both sides, both China and U.S. side, has shown quite some restraint in launching or retaliating against each other with trade protection measures. So that's a positive development so far.
Okay, Wang Qing, Chief Economist, China at Morgan Stanley, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.